Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. For decades, Bettinardi has been synonymous with milled putters, with finely crafted putters, with some of the highest quality workmanship and some of the best and most popular milled putter designs out there. But starting last year, the company also dipped its toe into the hottest putter trend out there, Zero Torque, with its Antidote family of putters. And now, going into the winter of 2025, 2026, the company has expanded the Antidote line with two new offerings. Say hello to the SB3 and the SB5. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know about them. So at this point, I think that most golfers are pretty well versed in exactly what a Zero Torque putter is designed to do. But if you're not, here's a really sort of simple breakdown. Zero Torque putters are balanced in such a way that as you make your putting stroke, regardless of whether it's a relatively straight stroke, a slightly arced stroke, or a significantly arced stroke, regardless of how you swing the putter, unless you manipulate it with your hands or your wrists or your arms somehow, Zero Torque putters are designed to keep the face of your putter square to the path of your putting stroke throughout the stroke, both on the backswing as well as on the forward swing. The advantage of that is that once you establish your target line when you address the ball and you get yourself set up on your target line, if you don't use, again, your hands or something, your wrist, to manipulate the face, it'll make it a lot easier to bring the face back to where you set up in the address position. So you're going to get your putts started on your intended target line a lot more often. You should see an increase in consistency on the greens because you're going to roll the ball where you really want it to go. Now, to do that, Bettinardi basically has to bring the shaft of the Antidote putters directly into the head, right over the center of gravity location. And that is why you see the shaft go directly into the head right here behind the top line. That's where the center of gravity is actually located in the Antidote putters. And for that reason, you're going to have some degree of onset, a little bit of what's referred to as forward press. The shaft is going to lean back away from the golf ball, away from your target side, ever so slightly. Now, for some players, that's going to be a little bit jarring. They're really not used to seeing onset. They're used to seeing offset, where the face of the putter actually goes back away from the target side. But the advantage of onset is that it gives you a very clear look at the golf ball, and a lot of players, once they sort of get used to looking at it, find it can actually be something that they prefer. Both the SB5 and the SB3 are 100% milled from stainless steel, 303 stainless steel to be specific. And finally, both of the putters are going to have a grooved face area right in here. That is going to be milled in such a way that it takes out a significant portion of material from where you're likely going to be making the strike. According to Bettinardi, it's actually taking about 50% of the material out of this grooved area. So that's going to really enhance the sense of feel and touch you're going to get. It's also going to affect the sound. It creates a very rich, very sort of distinctive sound with this groove pattern. The SB3 and the SB5 both have a combined weight of 360 grams, which is just a touch heavier than standard, but not really especially heavy. Both putters also come standard with 3 degrees of loft and a 70-degree lie angle, and the loft and the lie angle cannot be changed because that would alter the way the club is balanced and you lose the whole Zero Torque situation. And that's really what you're interested in these putters for to begin with. On a slightly more positive note, both putters are available for both right-handers and left-handers, and they're available from lengths ranging from 33 inches on the short end all the way up to 38 inches on the top end. So there should be a length that's going to work out for just about every golfer out there. At $450 each, both the SB5 and the SB3 are certainly an investment, but they're not nearly as expensive as some of the Zero Torque offerings that you're going to find out there. So obviously Bettinardi sent me both of these putters to try out on the practice greens, and while I was able to get out there on a very blustery and chilly day here in New England, here are my thoughts. Both of these putters did give me the sense of Zero Torque, that when I made my swing, I did notice that it appeared that the face was staying square a lot more effectively. It was a very reassuring feeling. What I noticed, though, that I think most people are really interested in is the feel coming off of the 303 stainless steel face, which has that sort of groove pattern in there. It was the most crisp sensation I've had with any Zero Torque putter so far. Whether it's the new stuff from Scotty Cameron or Lab or Odyssey or TaylorMade or any other brand, these putters to me felt most like the original non-Zero Torque versions as far as the sensation in my hand and the sound that I was hearing. Bettinardi putters, again, for decades, have had various face iterations, from honeycomb patterns to plain patterns to these grooves that are in the hitting area. They have a very distinctive feel, and you get that with both the SB5 as well as the SB3. And I think that's going to be a big appeal for a lot of people who are going to be looking at these putters. They want it to feel like a Bettinardi. They want it to look like a Bettinardi, but they also want that advantage or that enhancement that the Zero Torque offering is going to give you. And I think you get that in both the SB3 and the SB5. Now, personally, I like the SB3's alignment system with the extensions coming into the heel and the toe, as well as the white lines extending back and away, bracketing the golf ball. I found it to be a little bit easier for me to line up the SB3 than I did with the SB5. Yes, I do realize that there are a couple of lines extending back on the SB5, but it, to me, was a little bit trickier to line this putter up than the slightly larger mallet, the SB3. If I have a criticism of these putters, I think that to me, in my hands, they felt a little bit light. I've had a couple of people at different putter manufacturers tell me that when you get into zero torque putters, when you put the shaft into the head directly over the center of gravity location, which gives it the zero torque condition, that you really can sometimes lose the sensation of the head weight because you're really not going to feel anything in your hands. You almost need to go extra heavy in order to keep the sensation during a swing of exactly where the putter is during your swing. You can sort of lose that to some degree. And I felt like in some cases, I did lose a little bit of the sensation of exactly where the head was within my stroke. It was square. Let me be very clear. The face was square to the path, and I could see that as I made my motion. But some of the heavier zero torque putters that I have tried gave me a little bit more reassurance. Some of the time when I was putting, and maybe because it was a really blustery day when I had a chance to get out there with these, the SB5 especially, because I think it's such a compact mallet, it felt like every once in a while I got a little bit off kilter as far as my stroke went. The feel was great. The putts rolled out exactly the way that I wanted to, and I'm sure that if I had an opportunity to use it a little bit more and get used to it, that I would dial it right in. But coming from all different types of putters, they felt a little bit lighter in my hands. That could be something that works really well for you. You might like that. Some players like a little bit heavier sensation. That is a very personal thing, and it's one of the reasons why I cannot tell you enough to go get yourself custom fit and to try these putters before you make any type of purchase. I think the bottom line really is that if you're a golfer out there and you've had a Bettinardi putter before, you're somebody who loves the classic look and feel of milled putters, and you try the Antidote SB5 or the SB3, you will love the way that this putter looks, the way that it feels, and the way that it performs. I think both of these putters fall into the classification of zero torque putters that are a great first introduction to zero torque for players who are coming from traditionally weighted putters. They also only have 1 degree of overall forward shaft lean, so 1 degree of onset. So it's really not going to be that big a deal, I think, for most players. It's not quite as jarring as some zero torque putters that are going to be out there on the market. So if you're one of those players who is looking to get their first experience and possibly make the first purchase in the zero torque category, I think these putters may just be what you're looking for. So I think that's probably everything you need to know about the new Bettinardi Antidote SB3 and SB5 putters. But if you have a question for me, or if you'd like to give me some feedback or make a comment, please drop it in the comment area below. I do try and monitor my comment areas and answer questions for everybody who has one. If you also have any questions about zero torque putters or golf equipment in general, I want to be a resource and a person who can answer your questions and really help you get the best equipment in your bag to help you have a lot more fun in the game. So please feel free to drop a comment below. Also, if you got some good information out of this video, if it found it to be informative, it'd be really helpful for me if you would smash that like button as well as subscribe to my channel. It helps me out tremendously. So thanks a lot, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon.